On today's episode, I'm going to be installing the Merc Racing throttle body and intake adapter that they made for the 3.0T supercharged engine. So if you want to hear me talk about this, stick around. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. On today's video, like I said, we're installing this chunker of an intake adapter from Merc Racing. This is their intake and throttle body adapter that we designed basically to help people doing the PCV relocation run more aftermarket throttle body kits and to just be able to do throttle body upgrades on their own at home. What we found though, when we did the PCV relocation using the throttle body spacer, while that works with the OEM throttle body and some aftermarket throttle body kits, it didn't work with all of them, especially a lot of the more popular ones like the ones from Garage Autosports. So we started looking into what we could do to help people out, and we came up with this idea. And basically what we did for a while, I was running this APR ultracharger pipe, and just as a necessity type of thing, because I wanted an aftermarket throttle body, and I welded in a 10AN bung on here. Actually, Jose from Merc Racing did that for me. This has been ported to 80 millimeters, and it worked great. And we got to just looking at what people wanted, and they want more airflow, want more performance. So Jose from Merc Racing created this giant one. I mean, this thing's huge, barely fits in the engine bay of the C7, and this is the C7 version. There's a B8 version. It's not out yet, but it is going to be released soon. But yeah, I'm going to set this on the bench. We're going to go over the different parts of this, what makes it special, and then we'll get it on the car. Let's start off by talking about the differences between something like the APR ultracharger pipe and the Merc Racing pipe. Obviously, there's a huge size difference here. You can see that this is much smaller in diameter than the Merc Racing pipe. We wanted to go with max ability for airflow when it comes to the performance on these engines, and so that's what we did. This is the C7 specific version. Keep that in mind. The B8 one's gonna be a little bit different. So we're gonna go over to this one. This one has been ported all the way through. It's a used one that I got here at the point where it meets up with the supercharger end of the pipe. That is ported to 73 millimeters. Over here on the throttle body end, it's ported to 80 millimeters. So keep in mind the regular ultracharger pipe's gonna be a little bit smaller than that. We did a water meth tap here, never really got around to using it, and then we welded in a 10AN bung here for my PCV relocation return line. So we basically took this, and I've been running this for a long time, and it's been performing great, but we were like, all right, how can we do something similar and max benefit the performance? So on the Merc Racing version, this is 90 millimeters, and this is set up to take pretty much all of your popular throttle body options that you can do. There's even a little bit of real estate to port it out a little bit, but you just want to be careful not to go too deep and kind of come through, especially where you've got your screw locations at. On the other end, we've got an area that you get to choose however you want to adapt it for your PCV relocation, or you can just run a cap if you're not relocated. That way, you know, you can just choose what you want to do there. We've got the water meth port here ready to go, and you can see it kind of coming through in there. And then on this end, this is already ported out to 80 millimeters to meet at your supercharger. Now, yes, at your supercharger, if it's not ported, you're going to want it ported to get the max benefits, but this is still going to just cram as much air as possible into your supercharger. Porting your supercharger will always be much more beneficial. But this thing looks amazing. I did a little bit of artwork here and colored in the Merc Racing logo myself. Yours will just come with raw metal there, but it's a beefy pipe here that we're gonna get in. I've already test fit it into the engine bay, and there's very little room in terms of clearances, but it does clear everything. If you've got your relocation done, whatever line you're running for your valve cover hose here, you need to make sure it runs down and then out. If you have one that goes back and out over the timing cover, it will not clear this pipe. So keep that in mind. In terms of the install, I'm not really going to go through step by step because literally it's just lining it up and getting 4 bolts in here. Now, what I will say, if you're doing this with a supercharger off the car, I hope you have a ball end Allen, because that's going to be about the only way you're going to be able to get in there and get this thing attached. Just keep in mind that it's super tight fitment, so do not drop a bolt because it'll likely go into the valley of the engine or fall to the back of the engine. But the kit does come with brand new gaskets, and it comes with brand new hardware for what you're going to need. And yeah, I'm going to go and get this onto the car, and we'll run from there. Real quick disclaimer, because I know I'll get questions about this. The only hardware it doesn't come with are going to be the bolts that attach the throttle body to the Merc Racing pipe, because that's going to vary with whatever throttle body you get. So keep that in mind. It will only come with the bolts that are going to attach the pipe to the supercharger itself and the gaskets for each end. Okay, so I tried to install this thing with the supercharger on the car and I just couldn't do it. I'm sure if you spend hours taking your time, whatnot, you could probably finagle your way under there, but the bottom bolt of it, the one that's on the very bottom underneath, that is a nightmare to get to without dropping the bolt into the supercharger valley or the engine valley. So I went ahead and took my supercharger off, as you guys can see. I've got a divorce system, so I was able to just move it over without disconnecting my hoses and set it off to the side. The red glows from a heat lamp. I have it out here because it's been super cold and I refuse to dilute my distilled water. Plus it keeps my hands toasty. But in any case, I got it off here. I just finished installing it onto the supercharger. Everything's tightened down. I put a little bit of blue Loctite onto the bolts just because if one of these comes loose, I don't want to try to have to get at one of those with the supercharger on the car. You can see my adapter here for my PCV return line. So I'm going to get this put back on the car and then we'll be able to attach the throttle body and run it. So let me get it put back together. We just wrapped up getting this Merc Racing intake adapter installed on the engine and it looks awesome. Check this out. This thing is huge. It's super tight clearances, but it works great. And it fits perfectly, even with my weird setup. Everything I got going on in here is clear. I've got the 80mm throttle body on there. I'm probably going to upgrade it to the 84mm one day, but for now this works great. So what we're going to do is start the car and we're going to see how it sounds. Okay, let's talk about different kinds of intakes you want to run on this custom throttle body setup. So the ultimate goal of your intake should be positioning your filter directly in front of the ram air duct from your car's ram air system. And if you're not familiar, your car on these engines has basically the scoop here that's under your plenum cover, which obviously I don't have on the car right now. And air is going to be forced via the grill and it's going to be redirected right through here. It's going to go through this duct and it's aimed directly into your OEM air box. Obviously, we don't have that. Now, it's going to be dependent on your chassis. The B8 is a little bit different than the C7. I think the C7 has a little bit more of a dramatic cut back towards the fender than the B8s, but the goal is the same. Put that filter right in front of the ram air duct as best you can. You've got the custom pipe from Merc Racing. You've got your throttle body of your choosing, and this is all going to be dependent on what you choose to do. I went ahead and I got a 45-degree turn on a silicone hose, and this is actually from my original intake setup, my DIY intake some of you guys might be running currently or have seen a video on. And I just trimmed it down and I measured it out and I trimmed it to where this filter was right in front of the ram air. It's not touching the duct. It's not touching the chassis or the front carriage here at all. And so I'm getting as much forced air right into that filter as possible. Play around with that, measure it out, figure out what filter you want to run. This is a 4-inch pipe that connects to a 4-inch velocity stack with a appropriately sized filter to fit onto it. This is going to be up to you guys in terms of the DIY things. I think Merc Racing, as I might have mentioned earlier in the video, I think Merc Racing will probably come out with some kind of a 3D printed version of an intake that you guys might be able to purchase from him. Maybe other companies will come out with an actual bolt-on kit for you, but for now, this is a whole DIY project. That's what the whole design of this Merc Racing throttle body pipe was intended for you guys to make it at home. This has worked great for me. It's pretty much as free-flowing of an intake as you can get right now. And it sounds really loud. Now, it's not as loud as a straight aluminum or titanium intake that just goes straight to the supercharger. And that's simply because the aluminum pipe from Merc Racing is a little bit thicker and it's not going to resonate like those will, because those are thinner pipes when in terms of intakes going there, but it's still really, really loud. Okay, so overall thoughts now that I've had it on the car for a while and I've been driving with it. It's awesome. Merc Racing makes great stuff, and this is no deviation from that. It fits perfectly on this car. I don't have any first-hand experience with the B8 version, which is a little bit shorter of a stack, but the C7 one fits perfectly here. I'm running the Continental 80mm throttle body. No issues with clearance on that at all. And my little custom intake setup, I like it. It's plenty loud for me. It works really well. I've literally got zero complaints on this. So if you guys have any questions about it, definitely leave them in the comments below. Let me know what kind of intake setups you guys choose to do on these if you're running one of them. And yeah, if you guys have any other things you want to see or you want to discuss when it comes to this, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next DIY video.